Hello everyone, and welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the juicy details are right here in today's video. If you enjoy what you hear, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support us even more, hit the join button below. Thank you for being here. Now let's dive into the story. In the ever-shifting universe of Turkish showbiz, where emotions and scripts bleed into each other, another tremor has rattled the glittering surface. The calm, carefully tended image surrounding Alina and Alp Navras has been jolted by a new, thorny crisis, one that even their most loyal admirers didn't see coming. For years, they seemed to embody a quiet, modern romance, two stars who managed to stay grounded amid storms. Yet this time, a single late-night moment on a set turned into a chain reaction that no one could stop. It began in the corridors of Alp's latest production, Carpinti. Between long shooting days, blinking lights, and the soft hum of cameras resetting, a tiny detail cracked the veneer of trust. Whispers began when crew members said they'd seen Alp leaving the studio with his co-star, Lizge, and heading toward her place. A simple ride, a casual plan to go over lines, that's one version. But in a climate where every step is magnified, that image took on a life of its own. According to those close to them, Alina didn't find out through gossip pages. She stumbled on it herself, without warning, and the shock hit like cold water. Friends describe her reaction as swift and surgical. She collected a few of Alp's things and left them by her door, and some items, those that felt too heavy with meaning, landed in the trash, as if tossing out the storyline she no longer wished to carry. It wasn't rage, a confidant murmured. It was a deep, quiet letdown. She had sensed something was off for a while. The cracks, they say, had been forming for weeks. Alina, composed yet perceptive, had seemed uneasy about the closeness between Alp and Lizge. She didn't voice it publicly, she isn't one to stage scenes. But she watched. She asked about the script, about the scenes. She requested rehearsals on camera and reviewed raw takes under the pretense of curiosity. What started as a professional eye softened into doubt, and doubt hardened into a wall. Alp has responded with stillness. No furious statements, no defensive interviews. In private circles, he repeats a single line. It was a work matter that spilled past a late hour. They were reviewing beats, refining pauses, testing the rhythm before a demanding shoot. That is the story he offered, believing it should be enough. But Alina, wounded, heard something else. Trust is the only thing you can't improvise, she reportedly told him. And it's the one thing you let slip. Her accounts online spoke louder than any caption. Within hours, photos of vacations and soft moments vanished. Posts that used to sparkle with laughter were pruned to still frames and quiet reflections. She unfollowed Alp and let the silence say the rest. Their names rose to the top of trending lists across social platforms. Comment sections turned into battlefields of interpretation. One chorus insisted a woman shouldn't have to live with doubt. Another begged for context. Late work is normal in their world, it happens, don't crucify him for a ride home. But the love story that had weathered whispers before now looked closer than ever to collapsing under the weight of just one more. As for Lizge, she chose the sanctuary of not speaking. To those who know her, she reportedly confided that the whirlwind had left her shaken. I didn't break anything, she told a friend. We went over lines. That's all. Yet a few crew members admit the rapport between Alp and Lizge was tangible. They say a look could carry a paragraph, that jokes between takes flowed easily, that the camera loved their interplay and the room felt it. In an industry where rumors move faster than light, that kind of spark is enough to start a blaze. The days that followed were punishing. Alina, say her friends, pulled away from everything. She powered down her phone and slipped to Bodrum, borrowing the quiet of a friend's coastal home. She did not return calls. She asked her team not to craft statements, not to make noise, not to spin anything. I need air, she is said to have murmured before vanishing from view. Silence became both shield and message. Alp, meanwhile, buried himself in the set. He tried to let routine cradle him, call time, makeup, the burst of a clapperboard, the relief of getting a scene right. Colleagues describe him as present but distant, someone functioning on muscle memory. He would finish a take, offer a polite nod, then close himself off in the dressing room. Some noticed his eyes, raw from too little sleep. Others noticed the way his gaze lingered beyond the room, as if listening for a door that would not open. And while this unfolded, the spotlight swung toward Lizj with a harsh edge. Accusations piled up in comment feeds. She was labeled with names no one deserves, while defenders countered that the leap from late rehearsal to betrayal was pure speculation. Exhausted, she restricted comments and appealed for respect. "I stepped on no one's life," she reportedly said. "There is nothing to hide." The triangle that no one signed up for began to reveal the fault lines of modern love. How does a relationship survive when every glance can be cut into a clip and rerun and reinterpreted until it no longer resembles the original moment? What remains of intimacy when silence itself becomes news? Here at Secrets Behind the Stars, the question lingers: should Alina look past this and grant Alp another chance? Or do some fractures refuse to mend, no matter how delicately you try to seal them? Tell us what you think in the comments, we're listening. For now, neither of them has stepped forward with more than gestures. Those close to Alp whisper that he tried one last, old-fashioned approach. He wrote a long letter, not to dazzle, but to lay out the ordinary truth as he knew it, where he had been, what he had thought, why he hadn't thought to call. He sent it because texting felt cheap. But the envelope came back unopened. "Not this time," Alina reportedly said, tucking resolve into each word. "No more second chances." Those words, slipping through the seams of their inner circle, felt like a curtain falling. Fans, however, rarely accept a final bow so easily. Online, compilations of their sweetest looks and stolen smiles are everywhere, set to piano and stitched with captions about fate and timing. Commenters trade theories about them crossing paths at a gala, a premiere, a mutual friend's dinner, how one glance could reignite a language only they speak. People still swear that when they were together, their eyes carried a warmth that couldn't be faked. Maybe that glow doesn't die, they say, maybe it softens into something quieter and more real. For now, Alina seems to be searching for the kind of calm that comes when you turn off the noise and let the sea knit your breath back together. Alp appears to be carving order out of the chaos by working, memorizing, moving, one foot in front of the other. Their story, the one that glimmered because it felt both cinematic and ordinary, has closed another chapter. No one can promise it's the last. The industry is a looping reel, the heart, a more complicated edit. When trust cracks, it doesn't always shatter. Sometimes it settles into a mosaic that reflects a different picture, not better or worse, just altered. Time will either polish it or show each fissure for what it is. In the meantime, the production keeps rolling. On the Carpinti lot, people have learned to fill the spaces where laughter once echoed. Call sheets arrive. New blocking is set. The crew moves with the practiced grace of people who've seen stories like this before. They step around silence like it's a cable on the ground, a hazard you respect so you don't trip. Alp leaves the building under the same pale lights that witnessed the beginning of all this. The night air cools his face, but it doesn't quiet the noise inside. He drives home alone. He doesn't turn on music. He thinks of the letter, of the envelope returned as if the past had stamped it undeliverable. Alina, in Bodrum, sits by a window with no blinds, where morning slips in uninvited. The sea keeps folding and unfolding on itself like it's rehearsing a scene. Her phone is face down on the table, a small black mirror she refuses to consult. She flips through an old paperback she's carried around for years. She reads the same paragraph twice, then a third time. Sometimes peace feels like the absence of questions. But the truth is, even in silence, questions linger, and some of them carry his name. And what of Lizj? She shows up, says her lines, keeps her shoulders squared even as her comments remain locked. A friend suggests a weekend away, she declines. The internet has a way of following you to hotel balconies. She tells herself that time will do its job. She sits with the discomfort of being misread, knowing there is no caption powerful enough to fix that. This is what it looks like when a story stops being glamorous. It gets small. It becomes about a woman deciding if the person she loves has betrayed her or simply failed to handle a complicated night with enough care. It becomes about a man learning that goodwill built over months can evaporate after one misstep if it lines up with a fear someone has kept secret. It becomes about a third person who wanted only to do her job and learned how quickly roles get rewritten without consent. So, where does that leave them? For Alina and Alp, there is a road back only if the mile markers are honesty, patience, and the kind of humility that doesn't need to be posted. For now, they walk separately. For now, the scripts change without their names written together in the margins. They are, each in their own space, trying to learn what life looks like when a mirror you loved has cracked and you can see yourself from angles you weren't planning to face. And you, dear Secrets Behind the Stars viewer, do you think there's a spark left burning under all this ash, or has the storm finally soaked it through? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and tap join if you want to help us keep bringing you the most gripping stories from the world you love. In entertainment, nothing is ever truly over. Sometimes, it's simply paused, waiting for someone to call action again. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.